So today we are going to discuss a chapter called as Morphology of Flowering Plants. So I'm just going to be giving you an overview. For me, this chapter was very hard to grasp at first, but by extensive reading and rigorous memorization, I managed to master it. So basically what you should know in this chapter is examples are the most important thing. So you need to by heart all the examples. For example, what are the examples of tap roots, what are the examples of fibrous roots, what are the types of estivation, what are its examples, and another thing is diagrams. Because without drawing diagrams, you will not know what is the difference between an acropetal inflorescence or a basipetal inflorescence, for example. So I'll be going through all this in the chapter. So first of all, here you have something called as root. Roots are divided into primary, secondary and tertiary. Now you have the taproot system, which is seen in mustard plant, which is a dicotyledonous plant. You have the fibrous root system, which is seen in wheat plant, which is a monocotyledonous plant. And there is something called as adventitious roots, which are seen in grass, monster and banyan tree. There is a further explanation of this which you must go through clearly. Now, this diagram, figure 5.3, regions of the root cap, is very important, because in NEET, you can get a diagram of this question and they can ask you, like supposing they can blank this out, for example, and they can ask you which region is this, something like that. So this has 4 regions: region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, the apex, and region of maturation. So in the region of, now where are root hairs present? This is another important NEET question. Root hairs are present in the region of maturation. This they will ask you again and again in MCQs. Another thing, there's a trick question here. I always used to get confused between whether this is a region of elongation or region of meristematic activity, but we have to go according to the NCERT. This question, which I will be telling you next. Which part of the plant, of the root, is responsible for the growth of the root in length? It is the region of elongation. And this is something which your teachers also will be stressing. So please keep note of that. Now we'll go to the stem. So you must know for stem what is a node, what is an internode, from where does the stem develop. See, we have a seed. It will have something called as a radicle and a plumule in a dicot. In a monocot, it is coleoptile and coleorhiza, which I will tell later. Now, focusing on dicots, the radicle grows into a root. The plumule grows into stems. So, what we must know is, where the leaf originates is called as a node. And internodes are the regions between the nodes. That's why they are called as internodes. Now, the most important question is, they will ask you, what is the color of stem when it's young and when it is older? So, when young, the stem is green. When older, it is woody or dark brown. Now, going to the leaf. In leaf, the shoot apical meristems are arranged in an acropetal model. This they can ask you. And where the leaf develops from? The axillary bud. Then the types of venation they'll go through: reticulate venation, parallel venation. Again, like how taproot is seen in dicots, fibrous root is seen in monocots, reticulate venation is seen in dicot plants, whereas parallel venation is seen in monocotyledon plants. Just keep this in mind. I would suggest that you make a table when you're first studying of dicot, versus monocot and write all the differences regarding that, because it is very confusing at first, but you get used to it later. Now they can go to what is a petiole, what is the difference between petiole, rachis, etc. So leaves are of two types: simple, compound. Compound leaves are of two types: pinnately compound, palmately compound. So pinnately compound leaves are seen in neem. Palmately compound leaves are seen in silk cotton. The diagrams are always very important. Now further you can go through the classification of pinnately compound leaves. There will be unipinnate, paripinnate, all those things which they will be teaching you in your NEET classes. It may come, it may not come, but it is always good to know in brief. Detailed agi, I think it's a little bit too much in the first reading, but if you can remember it. Phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is an arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch. So there are three types of phyllotaxy: alternate, opposite and whorled. Alternate is seen in China rose. Opposite is seen in guava. Whorled is seen in Alstonia. Now you must know what alternate is, what is opposite, what is whorled. Alternate means each leaf arises at a single node. Opposite means two leaves arise at a single node at the same point. And whorled is many leaves arise at the same node. Now the most important thing of morphology, which is repeatedly asked in NEET, is everything about inflorescence, flower, that is, and related to inflorescence. Firstly, they'll ask you what is racemose, what is cymose inflorescence. Racemose inflorescence is that new flowers are at the top, old flowers come down, that is acropetal succession. Cymose inflorescence is called as basipetal succession, where the main axis terminates in a flower. Hence, growth is limited. Again, go through the diagram of racemose inflorescence, cymose inflorescence. Now, the parts of the flower. In 10th, you have already learned that the parts of a flower are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So, this is what you have to remember. Now, based on this, there are certain classifications. You see, let's go from basics. Your calyx and corolla, that is sepals and petals, are non-reproductive, whereas stamens and pistils, that is androecium and gynoecium, are reproductive organs. Now they will ask you, what is a perianth? A perianth is a question which they can ask you, trick you in MCQs. That is, where calyx and corolla are not distinct, that is sepals and petals are fused, in simple words. So the examples you must keep remembering. Now, unisexual, bisexual flowers. Bisexual means it has both the reproductive organs. In this case, it is androecium, gynoecium. Unisexual means they have only one. Either they are male flower or female flower. That is, it either has androecium or it either has gynoecium. Now, there are three types of symmetries. As in animal kingdom, you had radial symmetry, bilateral symmetry. Same way here, we have something. It's called asymmetrical, actinomorphic, zygomorphic. Now, asymmetrical, there is only one example called as canna. Actinomorphic, there are three examples: mustard, datura, chili. Zygomorphic, there are four examples: pea, gulmohar, bean and cassia. A point to be noted is, I don't know whether it is supposed to be remembered like this, but this is how I used to remember. If pea is there in some example, bean also will be with pea, and cassia and gulmohar also the same thing. So supposing we have some kind of estivation where pea is also there, bean will also be there, where cassia is also there, gulmohar is there. So these have an association. So if you forget an example, like if they ask you give two examples of a zygomorphic flower, You are remembering P, Gulmohar kaise? You don't remember the other. Remember, bean always comes with P. Like that. Now, there are trimeres, tetrameres, pentameres. If the floral appendages are 3, 4, 5. Now, at the base of the pedicel, you will find leaves called as bracts. So, flowers which have bracts are called as bracteate. Without bracts are called as ebracteate. Mainly, they'll ask you what a bract is. It's a reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicel. Now, we have, this is very important. Based on the position of the calyx and corolla and stamen with respect to the ovary and the thalamus, we have hypogynous flower, perigynous flower, epigynous flower. In hypogynous flower, the ovary is above all the other parts. For example, mustard, china rose, brinjal. You can see another pattern here. Mustard, china rose, brinjal. MCB. Like how we have MCF, remember MCB here. Perigynous. Perigynous is everything is equal. Ovary is at the same place, calyx, corolla, and rhizome are all at the same place. So, this is plum, rose, and peach. Examples are the most important thing in this chapter. Epigynous. Epigynous means the ovary is below all the other parts, inferior. For example, guava, cucumber, and the ray florets of sunflower. Now they are very particular about this ray florets. MCQs they will ask you which part of sunflower is epigynous sometimes. So ray florets you have to say, or in some viva or something. Now you may be asking, why is it hypogynous means that ovary is superior but the flower is hypogynous? Hypo means the other parts are inferior as compared to the ovary. Now this is too confusing, so just remember, in hypogynous plants, ovary is superior, everything else is inferior. Perigynous, everything is at the same level. Epi is ovary is below the other parts. So when we are describing, now parts of a flower. Again we went through calyx, corolla, and rhizome, gynoecium. You have to remember what is gamosepalous, polysepalous. Gamo means fused, poly means free. So gamosepalous means sepals fused, polysepalous means sepals free. Same way there is gamopetalous, polypetalous, same thing. Now estivation is the most important thing. So we have 4 types of estivation first. Valvate, twisted, imbricate, it's already over, vexillary. Valvate estivation means none of the petals overlap, no overlapping, in simple words. For example, we have calotropis. Vexillary twisted estivation means they overlap one each other but in a directionless fashion. You can see here, there is no direction in which they are overlapping. It's like random overlapping. For example, this is seen in china rose, lady's finger, and cotton. China rose is another name for hibiscus. Okay, so if you can't remember hibiscus, china rose is hibiscus. Again, we have imbricate estivation. There is a direction in which they overlap. So, overlapping in a particular direction. You can see this has a direction, like this is out, this is in, this is out, this is in. The other is nothing, it's random. For example, cassia and gulmohar. Again, we had seen cassia and gulmohar in another example here, which I said zygomorphic flower, zygomorphic symmetry. So you can remember that cassia and gulmohar come together everywhere. CG. Then vexillary estivation, 5 petals are there. One is standard petal, these are wing petals, and this is a keeled petal. This is P and B. Now, what is the staminode? Staminode is a sterile stamen. So you have to remember. Again, you have epipetalis, epiphyllus. But now there's a difference. Epipetalis means stamens are attached to the petal. Epi always means attached. Epi always means attached. You can remember it like that, because otherwise remembering too many examples gets too confusing. So example of epipetalis is brinjal. Example of epiphyllus is lily. Perianth. Epiphyllus. The stamen is attached to the perianth. Again, repeat. This is repeating too many times. But perianth means calyx and corolla are fused. There is no distinction between sepals and petals. Now we have something called as monodelphous, diadelphous. Monodelphous means stamens are all in one bundle. Diadelphous means stamens are in two bundles. Polyadelphous means many bundles. Monodelphous can be China rose or hibiscus. Diadelphous is pea. Polyadelphous is citrus. One more thing I will go back to. China rose is there in a lot of examples. You can see. Same way pea is also there, like that. So you can make a list about what a China rose is. A China rose has a monodelphous stamen. It is actinomorphic. It has a monodelphous stamen, and it has twisted estivation, something like that. Same way pea has zygomorphic symmetry and vexillary estimation, so as to make it easy for you to remember. So there is one more tactic you could use to just make this complex morphology easier. Now gynaecium. Now let's go back to the ovary. That is the pistil. Till now, so this is the female reproductive part. It consists of stigma style ovary. Ovary is elongated. The main thing is now you have to go to placenta. Placenta means the ovary bears many ovules. These ovules are attached to a cushion-like structure called as a placenta. Now again, we are going to the placentation. Placentation is again of 5 types. Marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central and basal placentation. Marginal placentation means on the placenta forms a ridge on the ventral suture of the ovary. They can catch you whether the suture is dorsal or suture is ventral. They have a habit of doing that. And ovules are born in this ridge. For example, P. See, again P comes here. So you can make a chart, which I will do in the end. Axial placentation. The ovary is multilocular. Locule means several cavities. For example, China rose or hibiscus. Tomato and lemon are also other examples of this. Parietal placentation means the ovules are developing on the inner wall of the ovary or peripheral part. There is a pseudoseptum or a false septum over here. Again, they can ask you, where is pseudoseptum or false septum present? It is in parietal placentation. And this is seen in mustard and argemone. Mustard is another very recurring plant coming again and again in many of the examples. Free central placentation means there is no septum. Basically, free, no septum. For example, we have dianthus and primrose. Basal placentation consists of a single ovule at the base of the ovary. For example, marigold and sunflower. Sunflower comes in many places again. It comes in epigynous arrangement. It comes in basal placentation. So the thing is, what you can do is, you can make a chart. Again, I am repeating myself too many times. So what I'll tell you, sunflower and marigold also look similar. Both are yellow flowers, if you can see on Google. So you can remember that these follow each other in certain places. Another thing, there is apocarpus, syncarpus. Apocarpus meaning free, syncarpus meaning fused. Mustard is syncarpus, tomato is syncarpus, lotus and rose are apocarpus. So you can remember this. That is, in rose, there are more than one carpels. There are more, so it is free. Now, we are going to fruit. Fruit consists of 3 parts: epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Inside the endocarp is the seed. Epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp together make the fruit wall, which is also called as pericarp. So in some places the pericarp may be dry. Some places the pericarp may be fleshy. When it is fleshy, we can see differentiation. When it is not fleshy, we cannot see differentiation. The fruit develops from the ovary. The seed develops from the ovule. They will keep confusing about this. Just remember this point. Now, in mango and coconut, the fruit is called as a drupe. Okay. So these develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries. It is only one. They will develop only from one carpel, which has an ovary. So monocarpellary superior hypogynous ovaries, and they have only one seed. In mango, it's a fleshy pericarp, so it's differentiated into epi, meso and endocarp. The endocarp is stony, the epicarp is thin, the mesocarp is fleshy. In coconut, the mesocarp is fibrous. Now, one very important NEET question is parthenocarpic fruit. Usually, for the formation of a fruit, there is a requirement of fertilization, that is fusion of the male and female gamete. Even in plants, where the male, okay. So, in parthenocarpic fruit, what happens? There is no fertilization. Parthenocarpic fruit. So now seed. Ovules develop into seeds. It's made of a seed coat and an embryo. Embryo has radicle and embryolal axis. See, so it could be the monocotyledon, dicotyledonous. Again P comes. P is dicotyledonous, wheat and maize are monocotyledonous. Now, I had already briefly explained the dicot seed to you before, but now let's go more into detail. You can see there are two cotyledons. This is the plumule, this is the radicle. The plumule is going to develop into the stem or the shoot. The radicle is going to develop into the root. Now seed coat, it has a coat on it. The seed coat has two layers, testa, tegmen. Testa is the outer layer, tegmen is the inner layer. Now there is a scar here, you can see. It's called as hilum. Hilum always means an opening, and in this case it means where the seeds are attached to form the fruit. Above the hilum there is a pore called as micropyle. So this is the seed coat. It consists of a testa and tegmen. It consists of a hilum, which is an opening, and a micropyle, which is a pore. Okay. Now, inside this seed coat is our embryo. This is our embryo. And this embryo consists of that two cotyledons, we say, and the embryonal axis. Now there is an exception here, which you have to remember. Some seeds like castor, there is something called as endosperm. It is formed as a result of double fertilization. And there are seeds which stores food, and the seeds of castor are called as endospermic seeds. Whereas your bean, gram and pea, again see pea follows bean, are all non-endospermous seeds. That is, they don't have this tissue because there is only there is no endosperm. Next, let's go to the monocotyledonous seed. Monocotyledonous seed is asked a lot. Monocotyledonous seeds are endospermic mostly. Some are endospermic. So, in maize, you have the seed layer, seed coat, which is fused with the wall of the fruit. And here, the endosperm is bulky and it stores food. It's more prominent as compared to dicots. Now, outer covering of the endosperm is separating the embryo by a layer called as alluron layer. The embryo is present at one small side of the endosperm. One cotyledon is only there. This cotyledon is called as scutellum. There is a plumule, there is a radicle. The sheaths which enclose the plumule and radicle are called as coleoptile for plumule, coleorrhiza for radicle. So P for plumule, R for radicle. Radicle develops into roots, rhizoids. So coleorrhiza. Plumule develops into shoot, upward. So plumule, P. Now there is something called as a semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. So we have KCAG. K is calyx, C is corolla, A is androecium, G is gynoecium. Now G underscore is for superior ovary. I will be covering only the important part. G above is for inferior ovary. The same thing, this is for male, this is for female, this is for bisexual plants, combination of both. And now what is for actinomorphic is like this, zygomorphic is like this. Fusion means we have to put a bracket like this. And this is the mother axis, this part. So here we draw the calyx, here we draw the corolla, the androecium, the gynoecium, something like that. So here you can see something. This is the floral formula for the mustard plant or brassicaceae. So it has, I will be telling, it is actinomorphic, it is bisexual, it has 4 petals, 2 free bundles, 2 plus 2. That is 2, in one bundle there is 2 sepals, another bundle 2 sepals, 2 plus 4 bundle of androecium, and it has a superior ovary with 2 gynoeciums. Okay. So now we are going into the technical description of Solanaceae. When we were studying, there were 4 families to be remembered. This was mustard and there were 3 more families, which I always found very difficult to remember, but now you have only 1 family, so be happy for that. We had the lily plant, I remember. So Solanaceae is called as potato family. Let's go to the description of this. Plants are mostly shrubs, herbs and rarely trees. Stems are herbaceous. Leaves are alternate. Venation is reticulate, which means it's a dicot plant. And this is its floral diagram. It's actinomorphic. Okay. So now, inflorescence is solitary. Cymose. Cymose means basipetal succession. Main axis terminates in a flower, as you can see here. It has 5 bisexual and actinomorphic, 5 united persistent sepals with valvate estivation. So another example we can add here, Calotropis as well as Solanaceae. See, the margins are non-overlapping here, so it is valvate. 5 fused petals, epipetalous, episepalous. Again valvate estivation, not overlapping in any direction. you have the five stamens, which means it's epipetalis. Epipetalis. Again, Solanaceae and Brinjola epipetalis. In case of lily, what will it become? Epiphyllous, because there is a perianth. Gynoecium, bicarpellary, 2 locules. Obligately placed, syncarpus, fused carpels. Superior ovary, hypogynous, bilocular, 2 cavities, swollen with axile placentation. Axile placentation, you see, it is divided into many cavities. Correction is syncarpus, it is fused, it's not free. I don't know why I said that. Okay. Fruit is berry or capsule. There are 7 types of fruits, which I do not recall at the moment. You must go through them in your NEET classes. Many seeds, endospermous. There is endosperm. So floral formula is written. This stands for actinomorphic. This stands for bisexual. This stands for 5. Fused sepals. 5. Fused petals. 5 stamens, which is epipetalis, superior ovary, which is bicarpellary. Similarly, let me do this for you for Solanaceae. Come on, sit here. This is actinomorphic, bisexual, 2 plus 2 bundles of calyx, which is free, 4 free petals, 2 plus 4 bundles of stamens, that is, and 2 superior ovary. Again, which is fused. Now, economic importance you must know. Many plants are a source of food, like tomato, brinjal, potato, medicine like belladonna, fumigatory like tobacco, ornaments like petunia. One more thing to remember, they ask you sometimes, what is glabrous? Hairy means it has many hairs like this, whereas glabrous means it is smooth. If you ever wonder, that is okay. One more thing I would suggest is, please go through the summary, it helps a lot. Go through the exemplar, go through these answers. They may not be your NEET MCQs, but they are important. And NCERT exemplar, I cannot tell about the importance of it, because it's that important to be that sometimes the questions are directly lifted from exemplar in CET, and even if you don't remember the answer, if at all, or can't deduce the answer, you can remember, I solved this question that time, this is the answer, and just stick it like that. So all the best, good luck.